Hi, everybody, it's Weird Wink Wilkinson laughing and scratching at you. How's everybody doing today? I got a little bit of a stiff neck. Let me just fix this up. Oh, that feels a lot better. Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff. I feel so very weird.
There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained, things that most people don't want to know about. That is where we come in.
No human being would stack books like this.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. All out of bubblegum.
Oh, it looks like you're the one who needs to be taught a lesson, pal. Class is paying 101. The instructor's Casey Jones.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
It's a cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
It's Miller time.
Luminous beings, so we, not this fruit matter.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Hey, these aren't my rules. Come to think of it, I don't have any rules.
Well, that's great. Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
You know something? Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
That's the nicest thing a dog can say about anybody.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point. You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
Sometimes happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you gonna call?
It's showtime.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Radio. I'm your host Peter Cimetti. This is episode 247. We're going to be talking about comic book ads tonight because advertising is now available in King Cryptid issues 10 to 13. So if you didn't know that, you know it now. This is going to be probably an episode that's a little bit more for a specific kind of individual, for those that are interested in such things. We all see comic book ads when we read comic books, but maybe you'd like to take one out. You want to advertise your own comic, your store, your site, your shop, your channel, your art, anything related to what you think would work for a comic book ad. We've had quite a few of them in the past. I'm going to spotlight the ones tonight that were in issues 5 to 9 of King Cryptid. Many of the ads are people who purchase multiple spots and things like that, so you'll see the same kind of ad a couple times, but I'll go over also how to lay out the ads, things that you should pay attention to if you do want to take an ad out, and just even the nitty-gritty of just the details of what sizing and file format and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's a show that's going to be possibly not for everyone, but for those that are interested in the topic, it's going to be for you. and I've had shows like this before, maybe like once or twice before, but this is kind of, I guess you could say, like a refresher because of the fact that we have 10 to 13 of King Cryptid with those ad spots finally available. So before I get started, you can see that pinned to the top of the chat there. It says full page ads for $20. That is correct. They're very, very affordable. Inside back cover for $50. And you can go to alternacomics.com/advertising and get a spot before they're gone. We got inside front covers already sold out. We got one inside back cover sold out. We got a couple full pages that have sold, but we still have inside back cover spots available and a bunch of full page spots available. Kevin says, hey Pete, love the new King Cryptid issues. How about those cliffhanger endings though? Very excited to see where 10 to 13 takes us. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate that, man. It's been great getting feedback on these issues from people that have had a chance to read them and that people are really enjoying them. Some people are saying they enjoyed them even more than they enjoyed 1 to 4, and they said they really liked 1 to 4. So the fact that you guys are enjoying these even more so is just, I'm so grateful. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Ben says, hey Pete and Tuesday night crew. Yeah, I'm flying solo tonight. Not so low that you can't hear me. Those are the jokes, guys. It's just me. Rob Geronimo has a family commitment tonight. So it's just me. There's no Tuesday team up tonight. So this is kind of like a on the fly episode 2 to just kind of come up with this one. Ben says, looking forward to King Cryptid 5 to 9. And thank you for ordering those, Ben. Appreciate that. Anybody who hasn't had a chance to order those yet, I'm currently doing fulfillment. As you can see, these are not just for decoration over here. These are boxes that are getting ready to go out tomorrow. I got another stack over here. I got another stack over there. So about 250 or so packages have gone out, and many more to come. If you haven't had a chance yet to back 5 to 9 or 10 to 13, because 10 to 13 is active right now. We're about, I think, 150 away from 11,000 on 10 to 13. But 5 to 9 is currently fulfilling. So if you haven't had a chance yet to go back that, please go pick those up. I'll be shipping those out, of course, in relative kind of order. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, but not as long as the very patient and supportive backers who came on earlier. Not as long as they've had to wait. So you'll be getting them soon, though. Very soon. Within like a month or so. That's not so bad. We got Shrek here. What's up, Shrek? Hope you're doing well. And you guys can go get those books on alternacomics.com or on Indiegogo if you'd like. Comics for Life is here. What's up, Comics for Life? Good to see you. Blastbeat Industries is here. Says, hello from Austin. An ice storm shut down the city. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's cold out there. It is cold. In the single digits over here, and I'm sure in many parts of the country, the same can be said, if not worse. Zaid Comics. What's up, Zaid Comics? Hope you're doing good. Did you back King Cryptid 5 to 9 or 10 to 13? If not, check it out. Go pick them up. Cigar Gangster, how you going? How you doing, man? That was a on the auction over the weekend. That's a good choice. It's an interesting choice. You're I see what you're doing. You're making a theme out of it. So yeah, that's going to be a good one. But thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. And I'm referring to the Alterna Comics art auction that we had over the weekend on Sunday. Shrek says, for some reason, notifications were turned off on my laptop, so I was not notified of Comic Book Radio live streams, so I missed them. What the heck? Between YouTube unsubbing people, shutting off notifications, all this other stuff, I don't know what's going on half the time with YouTube stuff. It is what it is. I'm glad you fixed that. Cole King, good to see you, Cole. What's up, buddy? All right. And yeah, Cigar Gangster. All right, so let's get into it. So the comic book ads, as far as King Cryptid goes, once we reach the 10,000 mark, which we did reach sometime last week, it unlocked the advertising for King Cryptid issues 10 to 13. So you can see that if you go to alternacomics.com/advertising, And you can see that we've got full page spots available for 10, 11, 12, and 13. There's going to be no full page ads in the glow-in-the-dark edition of 13. So if you were looking for that, you're not missing it. It's just not being offered. So there's going to be no ads in the glow-in-the-dark edition. But there will be an inside back cover, no full page ads. There'll be an inside back cover, inside front cover is already taken. Back cover is going to be more glow in the dark for the blank on that. It's a blank cover that's glow in the dark. But you can get the inside back cover for $50. Same goes for the others. So we only have inside back covers available for 10, 12, and 13, along with 13's glow in the dark edition. 11 is sold out. And no inside front covers are available at this point. So if you do want to pick those up, $50 for the inside back cover, $20 for the full page ad. Now there's no black and white issues on 10 to 13. 10, 11, 12, and 13 are all going to be in color. So the ads can be, it's your choice, black and white, full color, whatever you think works best for your ad. You can go for that and design it as such. If you click on any of these, we'll click on this one. Full page ad for King Cryptid number 12. So if you click on that, you'll see that it gives you the file format and delivery information. Now you got a long time before these are due. These are going to be due about September 15th or so, 2025. But you want to size them full bleed 7.125 by 10.5. Trim size is going to be 6.625 by 10. The area for important imagery and text, and like I said, it's going to be a very specific kind of show tonight for perhaps a very specific kind of individual. The live area, which is considered the place where you want all the stuff that matters, right? It's going to be 5.5 by 9 inches. And there's a template when you do purchase an ad. There's a template that you'll get that you can download if you do want to put that together and see how it lines up. Or you can just go by the measurements here. Ads must be in CMYK format. Cyan, magenta, yellow, black. That's for print. RGB is generally for the computer, for the internet, for monitor video graphics. Generally not advised for print. Always kinds of prints a little bit off if you do that. And most printers will either have you convert it to CMYK or they will do it for you. And you want to make sure you work in CMYK if you're going to have a piece that goes to print, because otherwise your colors will shift, sometimes very dramatically. There's certain colors that can't be replicated through print, where meanwhile you see it for a monitor, you see it for video, and it looks fine. You shift it to CMYK and it looks completely different. So you want to make sure you're working in CMYK the whole time, especially for these print ads. It'll be in TIFF or PSD file. Some people have asked, can they send it in PDF? The reason that you can't is because what happens is in a PDF, it'll flatten all the layers. And you think you might be doing me, a service here, a bit of help. But I need to make sure I can access those layers. I need to make sure that I can format things properly to print properly. So your specifications won't be the same as what I need to get to the printer to have them print properly. So that's why I suggest TIFF would be the best. PSD, I'll accept that because I can work with that. But PDF, I don't suggest it for this, for me. 300 DPI minimum resolution. This way it prints nice. You can print it. You can send us a larger file than that. I don't recommend it really anything bigger than 600. It's not going to make too much of a difference. But 300 minimum. And the advertisements must not contain strong language or nudity. All right. So these are books that are relatively appropriate for all ages, more or less. You know, it's geared because there are some themes and things like that are of not a mature nature in terms of strong content, but in more of like a serious nature. I put these for the most part as teen rated, 12, 13-year-olds and higher. But there's 9 and 10-year-olds out there reading King Cryptid, and it's very much in the tone of comics from the late Bronze Age. So you're really talking about comics from like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, even like flirting with that kind of age rating. There's nothing mature though in here. There's no cursing, there's no strong language on that kind of realm, and there's no real like gore, like intense gore and things like that, and there's no nudity and mature type of subject rating matter. So keep your ad appropriate as well. But that's about it. It's pretty easy. And again, this information is on each of the ad pages, so you can check it out there and see it for yourself. And the same applies whether it's the full page or the inside back cover. The same information for the formatting applies. So yeah, so that's about it. Now I'm going to show off some of the ads from 5 to 9 because why not? Let's give them some spotlight treatment here. Before I do that, let's see, we got Shrek saying, I'm tempted, but then I'd have to design an ad. I have hard enough time creating Bronze Age caveman episodes. You know, it is what it is. Maybe one day. Randy Scribner, what's up, Randy? Hope you're doing good. We got World at War comics here. How's it going, Tommy? Hope you're doing well. You should consider taking out an ad for World at War right there for the Kingsville. $20 for a full page. You literally cannot beat that. We got 1,000 print run for the King Cryptid books. And generally, I mean, I'm close to selling through on 1 to 4. Probably only like 100 or 200 away for each of those. And those had a slightly larger run. Those are 1,500 to 2,000. 2,000 on number 1. But it was 1,000 on 5 to 9 for each of those. And this series is going to go on for a while. So you're going to, when you create the ad, and I don't just mean Tommy here necessarily, but it's a good idea. If you have a comic, advertise in my comic. You know, that's why I'm pricing these so affordable too, because I want to get a lot of indie creators and independent business owners and things like that going like, oh, I can advertise in print. Once you advertise in print, it's different than advertising in web. On the internet, it's very fleeting. You got to set up your ad just to kind of hit the right audience at the right time, and then that's it. But with print, think about advertising in a way with the design set up so that someone may see this in a year, 2 years, a month, 2 months, whatever it may be, and they can still go to that website. They can still check out your comic. They can still get some information out of it. Sometimes people have a very time-specific thing that they're advertising. You can do that too. If you wanted to do that, I would recommend aiming for your ad to be relevant for either winter 2025, so the months of like November, December, or early 2026, January, February, March. I would not recommend anything before that point, so nothing in October, nothing in September, because people are going to get these, and even if everything goes exactly as planned, which when does that happen, and people get their books in October, what's going to happen is that, let's say that they read it and you've got a crowdfunder or something that's happening in October. Now they read it, they see it, and maybe they missed it by a day, you know, or worse, maybe they don't open it up till November or December. Sometimes people have a lot of stuff going on and a big stack of books they got to get to, and they don't get to these books till that point in time. And you had something in it that was meant for October. Well, now they missed out. So you want to make sure that even if you do something time specific, whatever it may be, that you have a website in there that they can go to, they can still check it out, they can still access some kind of information about this thing without it being so specific that the ad value really plummets because they might have missed out on seeing that. And then also you got to think about, there's a lot of people that get these books after the fact. So there's a lot of people that will get these books not even just during the pre-order, crowdfunding, whatever kind of phase, but they'll be getting them in a year from now, 2 years from now, they'll be ordering them. So you want to think about when you put your ad together about that kind of person too. So when you set everything up, keep that in mind. Someone's going to see this maybe a year or two or whatever from now, and they still should be able to access that site or check out your book. Or whatever it is. Go to your store, whatever it is. So yeah. Okay, so let's dive in here. And thank you very much, Tommy. Appreciate that, man. It says King Cryptid's amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, so issue 5 here. I'm going to try not to give any spoilers as I thumb through some of the ads. Although a page or two may pop up. Here was one for Hujangus. This is in the inside front cover. And this is issue 5. Flipping through. And then get another one here. Here is for the Mythicals. I hope that people can still back that now. But there's a QR code. That's a good idea too. You know, maybe you can get inspired by some of these. If you don't have the books at home already, you know, and you can't kind of watch along and take a look at the ads as well, you can at least see them on here. Here's Alpha Red. This is a sharp ad. He's got social media stuff. He's got the QR code. He's got the website, a description of what the book's about, a bunch of the different cover images, and a nice image right there. You know, so in the design, it's really important that you're understanding that you kind of want, the point of the print ad is to actually have the person stop reading the story for a second and pay attention to you. Now, you don't want to be too obnoxious with it, but you want to make sure that you're relaying information there that's important. Here's Gunship Thunder Punch 2. There's an ad for that. There you go. Now, I don't design the ad for you, so keep that in mind. But if there are glaring mistakes or anything like that, or if it won't print right, I will let you know. I will let you know that. If you do want my feedback when you send in your ad, I'm more than happy to supply that to you. But it's not something that I'm just going to go in there and be like, I'm not sure about that ad. You want to do this? You want to do that instead? You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to editorialize what you're sending to Advertise. I haven't really had to do that on too many of these King Cryptid ads. Even just thinking about it. If anything, a lot of the time I'm seeing that, and there's one for Hujangus again. If anything, I'm seeing a lot of the ads come in, and they're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good. We've been doing ads in alternative books for a while now, and they just get better looking every time. Here's a Shokai Prelude by Gerald Lang. Where's Gerald been lately? I haven't seen Gerald in quite some time. Where's he been? Where are you, Gerald? Let's see, Santos Sisters. The coloring on this looks like it's made for newsprint. That's kind of cool. SantosSisters.com. And then here's one for Midnight Mausoleum. Our friends over there. And of course, in King Cryptid, we've got a letter page, Mail to the King. And I like to spotlight a drawing or two in each of these. I'm blessed enough to get some fan art from you guys, and it's always fun seeing that come in. So you could check out that page at the end. And then here's the inside back cover for the #1 audio series in the nation. Is that true or is that hype? NP Armageddon. So there's an ad that they took out. All right. And then we've got, of course, the flip cover. That's what we do on the King Cryptid books. You got a flip cover. So that's issue 5 there. And like I said, you're going to see some of the same kinds of ads throughout the course of what I'm going to be showing, because many people purchase multiple ads. How's it going, Brian? Hope you're doing good. Let's see. I think you might have. You either did in a King Cryptid issue or you did it in another Alterna issue. There's been so many comics. So forgive me for not knowing the specific one. What's up, Grey Wolf? Hope you're doing good. Brian Suddenly Old says the Hugh Jangus ad that was a mini King Cryptid was my favorite so far. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. He's prepping, he's got all the inside front covers this time around on 10 to 13, and he's prepping like a 4-page story that you kind of travel along with each of the different front covers, the inside front covers, and you see a story develop over those 4 pages. So we'll see. Let's see, we got Tippy Tail. What's up, Tippy Tail? Hope you're doing good. Thank you for being here. Robert Doan, good to see you, Robert. Hope you're doing well. Comics Legend is here too. Says, hi, Pete. Would you ever consider having a fan art contest for King Cryptid? Yeah, possibly. You know, I'd have to think about a prize to give people. But so far, it's been pretty cool just seeing people draw the character without me having to goad them into doing it with a fan art contest. But I can only imagine how many more people would be drawing the character and coming up with something cool. I have to think about a prize. You know, what kind of things do you like, everybody, for prizes? Reverend Saber, how's it going, Reverend Saber? Hope you're doing good. We got Comics for Life here. It says, how would one go about to submit fan art? Well, if you follow me on social media, you can send something in to me, or you can email it at pete@alternacomics.com. If you get the King Cryptid issues, which you absolutely should, it'll tell you where to send it. So it'll tell you where to send it there. It's not going to autofocus. I have it wrong, but it'll tell you where to send it. And again, I don't need the actual original art. I just need a good, decent image of it. Okay. The prize is it's printed in the book. Oh, I do that already. If people want to send me fan art, I'll absolutely print it in the book. It just depends what issue it shows up in. But I'll absolutely print it. Okay, so here's issue 6. Now let's see some of the ads in this. So we got a Hugh Jangus ad here. Just when you thought it was safe to go to the beach. Very intrigued by this story, especially at this point where I'm seeing so much of it advertised in the pages of King Cryptid. I hope he launches that relatively soon. The #1 audio series in the nation. We got that ad back again, but this is black and white. So this issue is a black and white issue, even though we have a color cover and an inside front cover that's in color. It's a black and white issue, so ads will be different in black and white. Now, some ads could kind of convert easily to black and white, but other ads really can't. So you want to make sure if you're doing something like that. Now, you don't have to worry too much about that in issues 10 to 13 with King Cryptid because there's no black and white issues. But there's sometimes contrast schemes that won't really quite work out, that worked out in color but won't work out in black and white. Here's Empire of the Undying Sun. It's a tabletop RPG, Dungeons and Dragons style type card game thing. Man, I'm so bad with this stuff still. I probably butchered the hell out of that. But this is Yang Yan Zhao's book. So for those that enjoy Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games, things like that, check this out. Even the book looks cool though. So he took out some ads with that. Then also here's Shokai again in black and white this time. And truth be told, now when I have spots that don't sell, I'll look and see, you know, who took out a bunch of ads, who got some of the premium spots, and then I'll fill in some of the full pager type spots, or even sometimes you might get lucky, you might get a premium spot. So you might get more than one of those. So advertisers, check your books. You know, these are also ads that go in the digital books too. So if you get a digital edition of the comic, you'll still see the ads in there. And it's funny how many more people like seeing the ads than don't like seeing the ads. I think it's just because there's something so very comic booky about it, you know. We got comic book lettering here. I love this ad by Rick Joseph. He uses it all the time. And this one is one that he develops specifically in black and white and then specifically for color. If I were to convert the color one to black and white to grayscale, the contrast wouldn't come out as good as when he has designed it to look the way it needs to look. Hugh Jangus again. And then here's one for, I gotta not show that page. That page kind of spoilery. Cryptid Zoo. So you go to cryptidzoo.com. And there's some cool things over there. That's a fitting ad, you know. Advertise that in King Cryptid. Again, here's the letters page. We got some fan art here. And then the Alpha Red ad on the inside back cover. All right, and onward to issue 7. And let me give a quick look at the chat before I move on to 7. Okay, looks like you guys are enthralled, frozen, looking at these ads. I don't blame you. Some of them are pretty good. Bretsky the Great. Hey, say Hugh Jangus 3 times and he shows up. What's up, Bretsky? Hope you're doing good. Very, very cool stuff. So here's issue 7. And here we have Hugh Jangus in black and white on the inside front cover there. And let's get to the next one. So this one, Elliot did not take out this ad again, but I had an extra spot. And I really enjoyed this one. He did a King Cryptid ad. Took one out in the first 4 issues with a nice piece of fan art and also directing people to his social media. I was like, why not? Let's put that in there. I dig that image. He did a good job. It was black and white and it worked out. So you never know. Taking out ads also, you get, you know, let's say you buy that full pager for $20 or you buy that inside front cover or the inside back cover. You never know when I'm going to end up using that ad again. And you get even more value for your ad dollar. There's Cryptid Zoo again. Because otherwise it's like, you know, when I put house ad, everyone knows what books are. We got the alternative books already. You know what they are. I'd rather give the ad spots to the other folks out there that have been supportive. Hugh Jangus again there. Hugh Jangus looks like they, I think I put like an ad, like 2 ads per book. I'm pretty sure I did that. Here's another one for Shokai again. You guys know what that looks like at this point. I think there's some kind of research or something like that. Like you see the ad 3 times and now you become familiar with it. It doesn't really stick until you see something 3 times. Here's an ad for Thomas Valiant from RJ at the 4th World, or the 4th Age, I should say. Let's see here. We got another one with Red Valkyrie. So we'll go to redvalkyrie.net. And then here's another one for Empire of the Undying Sun. This is a different ad, though, a different image for that role-playing game. And then there is the Mail to the King page with the fan art there. And then Rick Joseph's comic book lettering. Now, if you are looking for a comic book letterer, you might want to reach out to Rick Joseph. He does a good job. He knows what he's doing. I've had him on the show before, and he's a good dude. Knows what he's doing with lettering, which I gotta tell you, that's a problem area for many indie books, many professional books too, at the bigger companies. So when you get someone who knows what they're doing with the lettering, you want to really hold on to them. But just giving a shout out there to Rick, he knows what he's doing. So here's issue 8. We got Hujangus again. Look at that. You know, we try to keep things, like I said, we try to keep things affordable. So like a full page ad for King Cryptid 10 to 13 would only cost you $20. They went down from 25 to now they're 20. I figure, why not? Why not? Let's get people in there. You know? And that's, I mean literally too, like the full page. You get the whole page. $20. And then, like I said, you know, there's times where I've got a spot or two empty and we got to go to print. So I look around and I go, okay, well, who took out 2 or 3 or something like that? You know, let's throw that one in there. Let's throw that one in the empty spot for the book that they maybe didn't take an ad out in that one. But let's put that in there. There's another QR code. The QR code's showing up. Do people use QR codes? You know, I think it's a good idea. It seems like a thing that people do use. Do you guys use the QR codes when you're either looking at these ads or anything else? Because they get put in a bunch of different kinds of ads and merch and whatnot. There's Elliot Rodriguez's ad again. A Headless Bourgeoisie says $20 for a full page ad is a great deal. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, I'm kind of shocked whenever we have ad pages left over, if you don't mind me saying. But again, I'm more than happy to keep it at that price. I'm more than happy to be able to put that out there so that other people could have their projects advertised. Now, we got somebody who's taking out a 2-pager in issue 10, and he was like, hey, can I get these as a double page spread? And I was like, you know, I don't think anyone's ever done that. So yeah, you absolutely could. So all you'd have to do, if you have a double page spread, let me get an issue that has a double page spread. Now, we've never had a double page spread for an ad, but like you got a double page spread here in King Cryptid number 9. Kind of spoilery. But you would just have to send me, design it all as like one big page, 2 separate pages, you know, put them together, and then I'll make sure that they get laid out properly so you can actually have a double page spread of an ad. So you can design it that way. You can design your ads too so that, like, you know, think about everyone loves those Hostess, the Twinkie ads from back in the day, all that kind of stuff. You know, you could design like a little comic strip, you know. You could even have like a really good preview page for your book. You can use that as an ad. Set it up, kind of rearrange it a little bit. But yeah, you absolutely could take out, if you wanted to do like a double page spread, you could take out 2 pages. And then we can just lay it out properly. There's Midnight Mausoleum again. We have Marlena Midnight. Ooh, that's a little spoilery. And then I showed the Santos Sisters ones before, but why not show it again? Shrek uses QR codes to get coupons. And then Brian says, I tend to check out the ones in Alterna and Iron Age magazines. Awesome. Let's see, Onderdonk. There's an ad for Onderdonk. And now when you do take out an ad, like let's say you're looking for something specific and you're like, well, my ad is more geared towards, let's say you got a book, it's a horror book, you know, and you want to get that ad in a book that's more geared towards that, or you've got a book that's more action adventure, or you got a book that's more superhero, or whatever it is, or a book that's for a younger audience, or a book that's for an older audience. If you want to let me know what it is you have so that I can help you to kind of find the right fit, that's fine too. You could reach out. I'll help you out with that. Otherwise, you could just go in there and it doesn't hurt. You get whatever one you want to get. It'll work out. But if you want to get really specific with it, so there's the Mail to the King page for issue 8. If you want to get really specific with it, you could always just ask me the questions of what do you think would work best. And then there's the Alpha Red ad again. There you go. And then front cover, back cover. This one done by yours truly. All right. And then we got issue 9. Issue 9 is the last issue of the batch. So these are the new issues, 5 to 9. Just showcasing some of the ads in here that were taken out, as we highlight the fact that ads are now available to purchase on 10 to 13. Before I dive into that, let's see. Massive Panda says, I've been wanting to get into that Santos Sisters comic. I love that old school Archie look to it. Yeah, check it out. What is it? SantosSisters.com. So go check that out. All right. So here's issue 9. And this is the last issue to share with you guys regarding the ads. We got a huge Genghis ad. Inside front cover. There you go. I thought he did a great job. The ads on this get better and better. Better and better. I'm hoping that people are really getting interested in that book. The more I see of it, the more interesting it does get. And I'm not just saying that because they advertise in King Cryptid, but I'm genuinely curious at this point. Alpha Red. Here's another Alpha Red ad in issue number 9. Oh boy, there's so many spoilery shots on issue 9. This one's going to be difficult to isolate the ads without giving the pages away. All right, here's that Rick Joseph page again. Need a comic book letterer? Lucky for you, my man Rick can help. Hit him up today. TheLightAmatch.com. And he's got the QR code there too. Look at that. Everyone's got a QR code. All the cool kids got QR codes. What else do we got here? Comics Legend says, I can't believe you have so many issues of King Cryptid so far. You're telling me, man, like later this year, towards the end of this year, we'll have 13 issues out. 13 issues out. I'm trying to get 4 to 5 out every year until I can master that. And then I want to try to get 8 to 10 out. At the very least 8. And I would like to do like 2 campaigns a year, but that takes some work. And I haven't quite mastered the 4 to 5 yet. And the only reason I'd like to get 8 to 10 out is because I have so many stories. I have so much of this comic I want to get to you guys. I want to get them out faster. But I don't want to lose my mind in the process more than it's already gone. And I don't want to start taking a dip on the quality of what we make here. So even if it's 4 to 5 a year, I'll have to settle for that. But I really would like to get 8 to 10 out. That's a goal. The Mythicals. Here we got Mythicals again. With that QR code there, you can go back it now. Hopefully you still can go back it now. What's up, Citizen Ronan? Good to see you. And then that Elliot Rodriguez ad. I'm getting towards the end of King Cryptid number 9. This is big time spoiler territory, so I want to make sure that does not happen. I do not show certain things. Here's that Shokai again. I wonder how Gerald's doing. Haven't seen him around in a bit. Let's see. We got Santos Sisters one more time. Like I said, I really gotta not show the pages towards the end of this issue. Midnight Mausoleum. Like I said, a lot of these advertisers, it's very similar to like the old school advertising, you know, with certain comics, especially in a given month or sometimes even in a given year. You'd see that certain advertisers take out the same spot. You see that certain advertisers are constantly showing up within, you know, the line. When we used to sell, and we had a much bigger line of books, I used to talk to like Ultra Pro or BCW, and they would purchase like all the back covers and things like that. But the bigger advertisers, they want to know distribution numbers, you know, and I don't blame them. But eventually, the losses through distribution outweighed the benefits of selling the ads. So that's it. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think I did a show sometime last year showing issues 1 to 4 and the advertisers there. It was either on my channel or on the alternate channel. I honestly can't remember at this point. But if you really want to check them out, if you want to check out these ads in full, you don't have to hunt down a video. You can read the comic. You can pick it up for yourself. You can take a look back. If you do have the comics, take a look back at those issues and check out the ads that were in them. And if you're waiting on issues 5 to 9, you shouldn't have to wait too much longer. But I do have about 250 packages that have been shipped out. More are being shipped out every week. I'm managing to do around 50 or so every week. And we will get to it. You guys will get your books very soon. And I appreciate your support and your patience. Now, before we close out the show, if you guys have any questions, if there's any other topic that's on your mind, we can discuss that. I'll be here for about 15 more minutes. I will say one thing. I'm really considering, because I've been getting people asking, and I'm kind of confused by it, but I kind of get it at the same time. I put up a poll on Twitter about this, asking, because King Cryptid 5 to 9 and 1 to 4 are available on Indiegogo, and they're available direct on alternacomics.com. But despite that, I've still had people asking, am I going to do some kind of a smaller campaign for the books on Kickstarter or Fund My Comic? So whenever I get that question, I'm always like, I let them know that it's on Indiegogo and it's on the Alterna site. But people are very particular, I suppose, about where they would like to go to get the book. So, if they never really ordered on Alterna before, or they don't really order on Indiegogo, but they want to get the book, I guess it's kind of like they like going to the store that they like to go to. So I did a poll asking, where should I put a second chance campaign? It would be a very small campaign. It would only really be the issues 1 to 9. It would fulfill after everyone gets their stuff. So it'd probably fulfill sometime in like April. And then I'm flirting with the idea of putting like art commission perks on there, like just for me, and like different sizes and whatnot. And that would probably be it. It wouldn't be anything crazier than that. But a lot of people seem to say that they want to go to have it on Fund My Comic, and they would back it on there. Some people said they would back it on Kickstarter. A bunch of people said, they wouldn't back it again. They already did back it, So I'm curious if people actually... Is there anybody in the chat here where, like, it matters to you that if it's on Kickstarter or on Fund My Comic, as opposed to being direct on the Alterna site or on Indiegogo? I don't know. You guys let me know. If enough people seem to really want it to be a certain place, that's what I'll try to do. But again, I am curious, because you can get it direct. I get it if you don't want to get on Indiegogo. I get that. But you can get it direct. So you can go to alternacomics.com, and there's a bunch of other things to get to at the same time. but maybe some people have an account somewhere and they would just rather go there. So just let me know. I want to hear from you guys about that, whether it's during the chat course of the show or after in the comments. Bootleg Godzilla says, I got my 5 to 9 last week. Can't wait to read them. The first 4 were great. Thank you so much, man. Can't wait to hear what you think about them. This is the best part for me, to be perfectly honest. This is what everything is like. You work your butt off for with everybody to get these done, and hopefully you guys read them and you dig them, and let me know. And if you don't like them, you let me know that too. So let's see. We got Massive Panda. Says, hey Pete, do people ship rewards from campaigns in the order in which people back them? If that's the case, it'll probably take me a while to get it. It was a last minute backer. Now I don't know how other people do it. I can't say. I don't think I've known anyone ever who ships them like, backer 1, backer 2, backer 3. I think most people, this is at least how I tend to do it. Most people kind of like do them in like a mass like a assembly line structure, where like you ship out certain tiers or certain things or whatever. Sometimes like 1 or 2 will sneak in that it's like, okay, well that's a part of it, or that's a real easy one to ship out, let's just ship that one out. But I do try my best to do in order of backing, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way for one reason or the other. But it's not like I'm strict to it. So I know it doesn't really help too much of an answer, but it's if you do back later, like let's say if you backed like 2 weeks ago, there's a very good chance you're gonna get that towards the end of me doing fulfillment. It won't be too long. You're probably talking about 1, maybe depending on the size of the campaign, 2 months tops of a wait. But you get people in there that they've been waiting since the start. In this case, people have been waiting since they backed. I know fulfillment was supposed to happen like July or something, 2024, but people backed in like July 2023 when it just came out. So, I try to get it out to the people when in the order that they backed, but it's not one of those I'm hitting them all up. 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of a thing. Let's see. Comics for Life says, I recently came across your Alterna Comics ad. The one in the comic book, the sniffing one, was that your idea? I thought it was really creative. Yeah, that was my idea. I told everybody, and rest in peace, David Lynch. When I told everybody the premise of the commercial, I said I want it to be like a David Lynch kind of Twin Peaks moment. And I hope people understood what I was talking about when I was directing the commercial. But I said I want it to be like a really odd experience. Like you come into a shop and there's just a bunch of people kind of just smelling the comics. As you make your way to go get a comic, you're just passing all these people that are just sniffing them till you get to the owner of the store, who's also zoned out, just like sniffing the comic. No one's saying a word, just like breathing in the comic, because it was such a big thing with newsprint comics. Even though the comics are great and the stories are great and the art is awesome and everything too, it was, how do you really convey that? And there's nothing like it. Everyone talks about, if it's not the feel of them and the look of them, definitely it's that smell. It's the newsprint comic smell. And so that was like the whole premise behind those commercials for those comic shops. But that was fun doing those. I think we did them at 2 shops. One of them's not around anymore. Friendly Neighborhood Comics isn't around anymore. And Stairway to Heaven is still around, and they managed to actually expand their store. So that was kind of cool. I'm not saying that our commercial did that for them, but it was quite the coincidence. I think within like 2 years or something, the store expanded, doubled in size. Headless Bourgeoisie says, I like ordering direct from Alterna. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, wherever you guys want to order the books is great. I'm more than happy to meet that if I can. But I do recommend, go to the Alterna site, open up an Alterna. You don't have to become an Alterna All-Star, although, there are some perks to that. But if you sign up to become a member of the site, you can track your orders. You can have a wish list. You can accrue points with your orders that you can then redeem for discounts. So there's a lot of perks that you get if you order direct on the Alterna site that you wouldn't get anywhere else. So that is why I definitely encourage that. Bootleg Godzilla says, good idea, 1 to 9 on Fund My Comic with the variant maybe of issue 1 or with the deluxe issue 1. Well, the deluxe issue 1 is going to be sold out. Those are very limited edition runs, so that's not going to be an option. And I know some people like the variant thing, put a variant there with this and that. I don't like that idea. I'm not trying to poo-poo your idea. I'm just saying it can get a little bit out of hand, with like, go get the thing. Because when I look at that, and this isn't to put anybody down specifically, this isn't what it's just for me. When I look at that as a comic creator and as a comic buyer, I go, if I'm going to go there for the variant, what I'm really doing, I'm not purchasing the book, I'm purchasing a print, essentially. So, if I did like a exclusive print or something, maybe I would do that, but like putting up like a whole other variant, I feel like variant covers already kind of cheapen the book enough as it is. Like the remastered editions of Alterna, it's a very specific thing. It's like a whole different experience on some of these books. I love newsprint. To me, newsprint is king, but there are readers who would appreciate an upgraded paper stock. So that's why we did the remastered books, which are going to be going to print probably in a couple of weeks. So that's why we went for that. But when it comes to like doing like the variant cover and this and that, I always feel like over time, I feel like in comics we lost our way a bit with the variant stuff, where it wasn't just like a cool thing once in a while, and it became like a norm. And like it's really happened a lot in the indie space now, where it's used in this way to kind of sell more stuff with the books. But like it's about the book, it's about the story. It should be something that's not just like, I got this person to do this cover because I'm going on to this crowdfunder or I'm selling this or whatever. It can get really out of hand. Like when people see issue 1 of King Cryptid, because even on the remaster it's the same thing, I want them to picture Christian Rossi's cover. When people picture King Cryptid number 5, I want them to picture this cover. I don't want them to picture like 5 different covers, and I've mentioned this kind of thing before. It's just a personal way I feel. Right, wrong, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. But I'm sticking to that. Because when I picture like Action Comics number 1 or Amazing Spider-Man number 300 or, even it's tough enough with X-Men number 1, especially if you're talking about the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, but like that at least seemed to serve a purpose because it was a big, you connect the covers and all that. It was a big deal. But if like X-Men number 2 was treated the same and X-Men number 3 was treated the same and 4 was kind of treated this, it'd get real weird real fast, And I apologize for going on a tangent about it. It's just I'm very weird with the variant stuff. Comics Legends, so forgive me, Bootleg Godzilla. I appreciate you though, buddy. Comics Legend says, I have an account on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Alterna. Look at that. Citizen says, I just buy it through the Alterna site now. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go. Brian Suddenly Old says, I'm good backing direct at this point. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that that's the case. Alpha Red says, doesn't matter where I order if I want to get the book. There you go. Spaceman says, Hail Pete, haven't come down in a while, needed my CBR fix in a big way, got King Cryptid 5 to 9, covers are amazing, can't wait to read them, thanks Pete. Oh, thank you Spaceman, and thank you for coming down for tonight's show. Paul says, you've got the infrastructure set up with your own site, no middleman fees, and you offer a awards program. I don't foresee using a crowdfund site in my future. That's why we do it. You know, I wish I could just usher everyone that even uses Indiegogo and say, please use the Alterna site. You know, you can accrue points. You can get on the newsletter and still keep updated that way. So even if someone's like, oh, well, the updates and this and that, you can still keep updated with the newsletter. And then you got all the other features. Like I said, like the order history features. You can build a wish list. Even if you see certain things are sold out, even if you don't think we're ever going to make them again, you can still add them to a wish list, and it sends me a notification that, you know, someone would like to order this. If it becomes available again, you get an email, you know. So there's all kinds of different things that you can get on there, and utilize it in a more efficient way. I get it though, if people like to go to certain sites and just, you know, that's it. They don't want to start going to whatever else. But I do wish everyone would go to the Alterna site. It's the best place for you guys. Headless Bourgeoisie says, I would order through Fund My Comic, Indiegogo, or Kickstarter if you had to stop offering direct from Alterna, though. Oh, well, that's never going to happen. We're always going to order direct, have ordering direct and offer that. So this is more about providing another option for people. And again, I don't know how viable it is, but we'll see. We'll see. I might put a very small campaign up, and then that's it, you know. Test it out. If it doesn't do well, it doesn't do well. Brian says, I've seen a lot of creators and independent publishers moving their evergreen merch to print on demand service sites. Have you tried that? That's a real tough one, because like quality control, I'm big on that. And when you shift your more mass-produced items, especially books, like Alterna books could never really be print on demand and be newsprint. That's not going to happen. The infrastructure is completely different. The printing setup's different. But if we were to do print on demand with some other stuff, that really wouldn't be viable, because like the discount structure wouldn't work. So like shirts would have to be like $50, hoodies would have to be like $80. It wouldn't be worth it at all. So it's better for us to utilize what we have to give you guys the best pricing that we could possibly give. If we sold even more, we could give even better pricing, but you know, we're still small and independent. But as far as like the books go, the only thing that we could even really do for print on demand, and it's because the technology has kind of caught up a bit, it's come a long way, would be like graphic novels. And that's about it. And the reason for graphic novels is because of the utilization of the paper stock is very similar to the paper stock that gets used on like offset printers and things like that, where they spit out a lot more of them a lot faster, but you can still maintain that quality. It's very close. It's almost like a 1-to-1 at this point. It used to be very different. It used to be a very different level of quality. It used to be like a laser printer next to like a professionally printed book, so like it was a noticeable decline. Now it's very different with the kind of printing presses they have that are for that kind of print on demand. But you can't do print on demand with newsprint, so that wouldn't be an option, you know. But with some of the other stuff too, it's such a quality control issue, because I've looked into it before with other things, and every time I'm like, yeah, this is just, it doesn't work out. Between the quality control dip and then losing the economy of scale, it makes no sense for us. And also there's the other thing too I found, where I'll just say this, that when it comes to stuff that's constantly always available, it removes this element of actually wanting to get it. And what I mean is, I've seen it happen not just to us but to others, where if it's always available and it's always there to order, there's a million more reasons then to not order it, because it feels like it'll always be there. But in reality though, it's not always going to be there, you know. So it's a very tricky kind of thing to do. But you know, I appreciate the the conversation there. Thank you for giving me some of that feedback. Cole says, I'll always do direct when I can, but I still think Kickstarter has the best chance of reaching new readers. Fund My Comic still has a lot of issues, and almost 100% of its users are already here, if that makes sense. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I said, it was puzzling to me when I get people, and most of the people did say Fund My Comic too. Because I look at it and I go like, why don't you order direct? order direct. We do flat shipping too when you order direct. And there's a whole other batch of things you can get. Make it an ultimate Alterna Comics one-stop shop is going directly to the site. But alas, I'm still getting people. Now, whether or not people actually do back, as opposed to just saying that they wish I was there, that's a different story too. So we'll see how it shakes out when the day comes. Mighty Joe says, patiently waiting for King Cryptid 5 to 9, but willing to wait if easier to add it to the Blood Realm or remastered. Well, you know, as things are ready to ship out, I will, I'll get it out to you. So if you already ordered anything else and it's in stock, when I go to ship out whatever it is, whether it's the King Cryptid books or whatever, if you've got other things that are pending on whatever, I'll just ship those out too. So it's up to you, Mighty Joe. Bresky says, I order direct because I know you make the most that way, but offering your books on Kickstarter and or Fund My Comic would be a good experiment. Might get a few newbies finding your work that otherwise might not. That's literally the only reason I would even do that, and even then, I feel like that reason is still kind of, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to bury the hatchet with this Kickstarter. I don't have really problems with Fund My Comic, but I'm trying to sort of bury the hatchet with Kickstarter over that fraudulent King Cryptid campaign from 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I should say. It just feels it's tough. It's tough. If enough people are really asking me to be on there and then put something up on there, I'll give it a shot. But again, at the same time, if they're asking me, I'm always like, well, why don't you order direct? That'd make both of our lives easier. Comics Fly says it was odd but true to any true comic collector of comics or books in general. Yeah, the sniffing, the smell of the books, totally. Toad says, I thought that commercial was really cool also, Pete. Also cool seeing an ad like that for comics, period. I agree, really creative. Oh, thank you, man. It's fun. It was a lot of fun to do, and I wish we could do another one, but times have changed. Lobo says, when are we getting Malin Van Sciver Lopresti interviews again, Pete? I don't know. Interviews have been very difficult for both me to coordinate, me to book, and me to be booked on. Like, interview things have been difficult in general lately. I've found that it's kind of tough to book people nowadays for 100 reasons. And everyone's very busy, so I think that's part of it, but oh well. Comics Legend says, I agree with the variant covers too. I like how with Alterna for reprints, the corner box color just changed, but same art. Yep. Yeah, that's 100% true. Spaceman says, love the newsprint like the comics I fell in love with. Yeah. Well, to me, like I said, newsprint is king. Comics Life says variants are bait for collectors, at least for me. Bootleg says Fund My Comic exclusive variant is a thing, though that makes it collectible, but I totally understand not doing it. I'm not a variant collector either, but newer fans tend to be. Yeah, I can't explain the level of... it's very difficult for me to even want to have anything that approaches a variant, or even to call it a variant. The only reason I do that is because that's become the accepted, the accepted wordage. Because it makes it scream of it doesn't matter what this comic is. It's got a different cover. You know, and it makes it so much about the cover that it turns into, well, why not just do something else with that image? Why not make a poster? Why not make a shirt? Why not make a trading card? Why not make a print? If it's just about the image and it doesn't matter about the story that's inside and the pages and everything else, then just make something with that image. You know, so it's such a, and it's just me being old-fashioned maybe, but it's one of those things where some part in me is like irrationally pissed off about it. Like, again, I don't mind it in certain instances. If it's a very, like, it's a milestone, it's celebratory in some way, whatever. And I don't even care if it's a whole other level of pissed offness that gets inside of me when it's like it's an incentivized thing at the retail level. That's like, that really irritates me. Putting the retailer and the customers through that. But just like, you know, seeing like the number one, if it's got like, you know, 2 or 3 or whatever variants on there, and it's because it's very specific to, you know, it's honoring, like you're given some kind of a legacy artist, some kind of iconic artist who has something to do with the book or something like that. You're giving them that cover, and it's like a prestigious thing. But like if it's just let's pump the variants out there, I just not a fan of it. It's my hang up, I guess. It's one of my biggest hang ups. One of my biggest hang ups in comics. And I don't think I'll ever get over it. So I'm sorry, guys. Brian says maybe an exclusive hat featuring the painted King Cryptid from the Iron Age Icons card set if you do a second chance campaign on Fund My Comic. Oh boy. I don't even know if we know how to do a hat like that. That'd be very complicated. Even to do a patch would be really complicated. I mean, it'd be cool. I'm not gonna say it wouldn't be cool. Adam Miller did a great job on that King Cryptid. I love that image. But yeah, I don't think, because we had it as a t-shirt. The blanket is being made right now. I want to do a couple other things with it. I'm going to make it a back cover on King Cryptid number 13. The only thing I can't do with it is make a trading card. That was it. That was Adam's only stipulation. He said you could do anything with it, but make it a trading card. Just the trading card has to be the one I made, the one that he made. So yeah, I want to do a bunch of things with it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do a hat with it. Massive Panda, as much as that would be cool. Massive Panda says, I honestly thought I was in the minority in regards to that opinion on variant covers. Yeah, I have no idea how I feel about that, other than there's something in my gut that makes me hate them. It's borderline irrational, man. It's borderline irrational, and I admit to it. Like when I see like a lot of campaigns up and they're just like, I've got like 6 variant covers, and I'm like, I hope there's a good reason for that, because you just need the one cover. You know, I know some people love their covers, and the stores that love their covers, and the collectors love their covers. And maybe I'm in the minority of it. I have no idea anymore. I just know what I like, what I don't like, what I want to do as a creator, what I want to purchase as a buyer. And I'm not in that market. Now, maybe I'm missing that market. Maybe I'm leaving a ton of money on the table. I don't know. But it was one of those things. It was always weird, too, dealing with like retailers who would want a comic store specific variant. I had that request a lot when we had Diamond distribution for the newsprint issues. They were like, "Oh, could we get a store-specific variant?" And the amount of people that would request that, it would usually be between like 10 to 15, especially if it was a number one. I'm like, that sounds like madness to me. that sounds like utter absolute madness. It's like, why don't you just get the books in? You know, the whole idea of like, oh, well, they're collectible. But are they really, though? Because I see a ton of variants at stores a year or two later that are like in the dollar bin. And I'll even see like that store exclusive variant like at this one particular store that I used to go to. It's closed now, meaning it's like it's done. But they had their own store variants all the time, and you just wait like 6 months and they'd be in like a dollar bin at the store. And it's like that had a cover price of $3 or $4 at the time, and they were trying to sell them at like 10 or so at the time when they would come out with them. It's like the whole thing just kind of, I don't know. I was always like, are these really collectible though? I'm sure some of them are. Especially if they're a really small print run. But like, the vast majority of them just seem to wind up never being sold. It's so weird. But yeah, maybe I'm in the minority with all that stuff. Paul says Dynamite is crazy with the variant covers. The number ones have 40 plus variants. Oh, what the is that? Oh, like I said, I get irrational about it. Headless Bourgeoisie says I understand the variants as a sales thing, but I just choose one cover. I don't even understand it as that. I know what happens. I know it's a thing. I know that it will falsely, boost the sales figures on a book. It makes a book look like it has a way bigger readership. I'm more concentrated on readership than I am on just like the selling of units. And again, right, wrong, I have no idea. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. But it was always more to me about like, I'd rather have the reader than know that the reader bought like the one book 15 times. You know? I don't know. Bootleg Godzilla says, is Indie Planet an option? No, Indie Planet wouldn't be an option for me. Couldn't do what we want them to do. Bootleg Godzilla says, Big Bang Comics from Gary Carlson now goes through Indie Planet and the books look great, but no newsprint. Well, newsprint can't be done. Newsprint can only be done through a web press in a mass majority of books. It cannot be done print on demand. The technology will destroy the paper stock. Cannot be done. Bootleg says, would love to see an alternative do Big Bang Comics on newsprint. Those comics would look great on that paper. Comics Legend says, the alternate site is essentially Fund My Comic. It's a good option for those who don't have a website built already. Ross says, once I can afford to buy comics, I will buy direct. I appreciate that, Ross, and I hope things get better for you, man. I know a lot of people are hurting out there, yours included. Lord Hinson says, I've been backing through Indiegogo, but I just checked out your site and signed up an account. Didn't even know you had rewards. Looking forward to stacking them up in the future. Good stuff. Yeah, we start you off with 100 too, so you can actually trade that right in to get a 10% off of your order coupon. So they'll pile up. They'll accrue. Ross says, also, how has Nerdrotic not invited you onto his Conspiracy Supernatural podcast? I don't know. He ghosted me after I had caught up with him. He said he would have me on there. I was like, oh, hey, anytime you want to have me on there. And then that was like it. Never heard from him again. It is what it is. I don't expect anybody to reciprocate. That's not why I do the interviews anyway. Comics Flight says, would you interview Eric July if given the chance? Sure. I mean, would he want to be interviewed by me? You let him know. You do like be the go-between. You hook us up. Hook us up. Headless Bourgeoisie says, Paul. Oh, God, I can't even. Is that Revoche? Or Revoche? Or Gary Martin interviews would be neat. Ross says, Pete Cimetti yells at clouds. That's basically how it is when it comes to me and variants. It really is. Citizen says the variant disgust on Pete's face is palpable. I'm sure it is. It does things to me on the inside that don't make me feel too good about the way I feel. Mr. Chemo says, got 1 to 9 the other day. Can't wait to start reading. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy them. Mighty Joe says, Pete, ever consider that raw pencil commission tier we were hashing about a month ago? I have, but like no one seemed to be interested in that. But I might give it a shot. I'm really thinking too of like doing just a dedicated campaign with various like commission option tiers. I wanted to do a sequel to 5 Minutes for Art and come up with something else with different, tier options and kind of make like a little book about it again. But I don't know. I got to work it out. I think it'd be fun to do. Massive Panda says, same here. I'm a cover A backer only. Yeah. Every once in a while I'll see like the cover B that I'm like, yeah, I like that one a little more. But I always think like, I wish that one was just like the cover A, But yeah, I don't back more than the one cover. Zaid Comics says Adam Miller's piece was so cool. Yeah, he did a great job. He did an awesome job on all of those. That Iron Age Icons card set looks great. Comics Legend says, Zaid Comics, will you be making an ad to place in the King Cryptid comics? I hope you do. I mean, go for it. $20 for a full pager. Go for it. Jeff Kibler says, I agree with the variant cover topic of one cover only. One cover has a possibility becoming an iconic cover image. 70s and 80s Marvel comics come to mind a lot. Like the Zek Punisher covers. Oh yeah, Mike Zek with those Punisher covers. Man. In general, there's so many comics where, collectively you can think of like that iconic cover. And now it's like, did the blah 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 variant, the yada yada variant? And like a part of me, I get it. Again, I get it. Times have changed. And I think, that's exacerbating the situation. I don't think it's making it better. I think it's actually making it worse. It's kind of like a long-term ramification sort of thing. But I do kind of hate seeing a lot of the indies going down the same path with that. With King Cryptid, that's why I kind of say I give you two covers on the one comic, We do something fun with the back cover. And that's my choice to do that. If the other alternate creators wanted to do that too, they could do something with that as well. But that's as far as I'll go with giving you a variant. You gotta, if you like the back cover, you like to have that displayed. Some people like to display them sometime. Then you get your two choices right there. But it's the same comic. You don't gotta repurchase the comic to get that second cover option. Let's see. We got Alpha Red says, I only buy one cover, but my homage covers sell very well. Help sell more. See, yeah, maybe I'm missing on something, I probably am. Like I said, I'm wrong about a lot of things. Mighty Joe says, variant needs to be really iconic art, but at that point, just make it the cover. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes what I really hate is when it's like the main cover, and this happens more often with the bigger companies. The main cover is like, and then you see that there's a variant in the mix that's incredible. And you're like, well, couldn't anybody tell? It's kind of like when you're picking out the single to play from like the album, which one's going to be the hit. Like if you don't have the eye to spot like that one is great, then you got to find a different line of work, But, now, the industry has changed a lot when it comes to that stuff, especially. Like I said, it's probably more of a me problem than an industry problem at this point, but I'll die on that hill. SDA, what's up, SDA? Hope you're good. Massive Panda says, I'm almost certain that Indie Planet doesn't even have a matte paper option. If they do, I never see it on their site. Man. Yeah, I like silk coated. Silk coated is nice. That's like a nice go-between. It's like a premium matte. Uncoated natural would be the closest thing to newsprint without it actually being newsprint. And even then, most print-on-demand printers don't do that. They don't have that as a stock option. Comics Legend says, Pete, would you ever consider a treasury size edition of King Cryptid #1? Yes, I would. Now, that happening is different than what I would like. I'd like a king-sized edition of each issue, you know? Like, that would be cool. Like a nice, big whatever, you know? But, you know, the feasibility of such things, the demand for such things, because you'd have to get some demand there to make that happen and make that work, is two different things. But it'd be nice if I could just like snap my fingers and there's a treasury-sized edition. Yeah, I would. I'd do that right now. Let's see. Brian says, Pete, I found this low-volume custom clothing manufacturer when asking Graham Nolan for a Hawaiian shirt. Oh, I'll check it out. Thank you, man. dasflow.com. I'll check that out. Thank you. Young Wavy. Let's see here. Young Wavy says, any stories and or opinions on small press publishers merging, especially in recent times with diamond distribution struggles? No, I don't have any stories of like people I know. As far as like my opinion on it, I mean, whatever would work to keep you afloat, whatever would work to keep you putting out books and to manage to make a living in this godforsaken industry sometime. You know, you got to do what you got to do. I get it. That's why I get it with the variant cover thing too. You know, it's just it's something within me that just it hits a raw nerve. Why that nerve got so raw to begin with, I don't know. But you know, people doing what they got to do to survive and for their business and to keep that afloat. You know, as long as you're not doing it just to do it, if you're doing it because you think it'll enable something better, or you know, there's a lot of different things. But I've seen, I'm not going to name any names on it, but I've seen a couple instances, and I don't know anybody personally involved, but just as an outside observer, I've seen a couple things happen where I was like, that's a takeover situation, not really like a merging situation. You know, and that's often how merging situations work, is it's usually not like a merger, it's usually a takeover. You know, so that's when it's like, oh, that kind of stinks, because you could clearly tell, well, one company was just kind of scooping up the other one, and like they make it sound like it's a friendly, you know, compromise merger sort of deal, until like slowly but surely that company that, you know, wasn't quite like the big one, they get completely erased and swallowed up into the bigger company. That's happened a lot with everything over the years. Citizen Rowan says, I want a King Cryptid yada yada variant now, Pete. Comics for Life says, variant covers are the gimmick that has worked for comics, contrary to the 90s attempt to gimmicky covers. I'd say yes and no. You know, it really does depend. I think it depends on like who's doing the variant, because there's some people that like they follow certain artists with that stuff, and then there's some books that like they could put out whatever variants they want. It's just not going to work. Some people have success with the homage covers, some people kind of don't, you know, so it's like it's all over the place with this sort of stuff. It's just, you know, for me it's a situation where I can only really speak to how I feel about it, and that's kind of it. And I'm aware I'm kind of irrationally ticked off by them sometime. Let's see. Ross says, but I like gimmick covers. Holofoil was awesome. Because I like the glow-in-the-dark covers. I like the holofoil stuff. The prismatic stuff was kind of cool. Holograms were awesome. Embossed covers, some of those were kind of cool. You know, so like I would take those things over like the variants any day of the week. You know, someone doing like a chromium cover and like that's the cover. That's cool. But if it's like, well, there's this variant and that variant and the other variant, and you know, again, it works for some people, and for others, it's whatever. That's neither here nor there for me. It's just more of a personal thing. Let's see. Cole says variants don't bother me until you get to that 1 out of 100 crap they do. That is, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. But other than that, you know, it's one of those. If someone wants to put out whatever for it, you know, I'll get the cover I like or something, and that's it. But the incentivized variant stuff is that's a huge issue with things. Do they still do that? I'm not as plugged in with that anymore. I know that was the big thing to do for a few years there. That was horrible. I don't even know if they do that kind of thing anymore, just where even distribution wise they're set up so differently now. Let's see. Spaceman says, just got King Cryptid 10 to 13. Long live the king. Oh, thank you, Spaceman. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. I hope you enjoy 5 to 9. Please let me know what you think. Headless says, my first comics were Treasury size editions. Love those things. Yeah, those are great. Comics Legend says, Pete, will you be attending any comic book conventions this year? No, I won't. Well, not as an exhibitor. Maybe like a small show here or there. I'll just go and check out, see what they got, but I won't be going to any as an exhibitor. Bootleg says, would love to see a King Cryptid crossover with other creations like Cyberfrog, Salamandroid, or Nolan's Monster Island. I think it would totally work. Yeah, but probably not. And the only reason I say no is the undertaking of that kind of stuff. Like, I love Rob Geronimo. Dear friend, known him for years. Love doing the shows with him. He'd be here tonight, but he's got a family commitment. And even like doing Blood Moon, that's an undertaking. It's not like a button heads kind of thing. It's not like that. It's an undertaking to carve out that space and that time and that story and do it right and make it work and not just have it be like a thing that happens and, you know, let's say that we did it and then that's it. But make it matter, make it count, make it something special, make it good, and make it make sense. So, you know, even though it's like, hey, that'd be cool, I'd like to see like a fan art piece. That would be cool. I don't need to see a book. I definitely don't need to work on a book or create a book that involves that, you know. Fan art piece would be cool. That's about it. Because everything else is just a disaster waiting to happen. Ross says, yeah, the term merger always confused me because it suggests equal partnership. Yeah, but it's almost always one consuming the other. 100%. 100%. You know, like in a billion something years when the sun has a merger with the earth. That's the kind of merger we're talking about. SDA Chromium is cool. Yeah, I like all that stuff. I wish we could do holograms, but those are so expensive. Glow in the dark is really expensive, but I'm figuring like, okay, we can kind of make it work, sorta. And even that, I might be cutting off my nose to spite my face. We'll have to see. But I like all that stuff. That stuff is just fun. It's just fun. Comics for Life says, I mean more from the point of view that it has managed to stick around. Well, a big reason the other stuff didn't really stick around in the same capacity has a lot to do with the printing technology. There's a couple of different printers who used to manage to be able to do those various things in the capacity in which it was being used in the comics industry, and many of them just aren't around, or the technology's not around. Like the people who, like, it's really weird how some of this stuff works, where like there's some people that are involved in certain aspects of various artistic industries, whether it's film, comics, animation, whatever, where you'll be surprised that it's like, wait a second, so when that person died, that was like the last person who knew how to do that? Like, why didn't they train someone else? Why didn't someone else learn? And it was like, well, because, you know, it was sort of fading out at the time, and they figured like, well, why would they need to train someone else? This would never really be needed or wanted again. So it's like, you'd be surprised how often that kind of happens in these kinds of industries. It's sad, and it's really depressing when you find out about it. Like, there's a lot of various animators and people in music and film that can do certain things that when they died, like, they were the last people who knew how to do that. Same thing with comics. I mean, I can see lettering going that way, where eventually it becomes like, wow, that was like the last person who could really hand letter that way. You know, so there's all these different things that happen. And a lot of the gimmick covers of the 90s, you know, whether it was whatever with the print technology and how it was set up and how it was done and utilized, a lot of that just doesn't happen anymore because a lot of those printers just aren't around anymore. So it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird industry, but not like I need to tell you guys that. Let's see. Brian says DOS Flow just upped their MOQ to 100 units of minimum quantity to 100. Used to be 25. Well, yeah. Oh well. I'll take a look anyway. I'll see what they got. Alpha says, yup, they still do different ratio variant covers, and the comic shop owners have to gamble whether they can recoup. If I was a shop owner, I would just be like, screw it, I'm not doing that. I would just flat out not do that. And, you know, let whoever do that, and it goes on eBay, and it's like, okay, fine, whatever, good for them. Because it's just, is that really worth it at that point? Like, I was talking to a shop owner one time that was like, he had to have his customer buy the equivalent of 100 units to get that book, and he's like, that's the only way we would do that. He's like, because I did that one time without having the customer do that, and we sat on like 80 of those books, and I didn't make any money. I lost money getting that variant, you know. So it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of shop owners that are in that predicament, and it's a weird situation too, because then you get all these books in, and it's like, most of them aren't going to sell. So that's a weird aesthetic to have in the store, where you have them on the shelf and just sitting there the whole time. Then the vast majority of them have to go to get deep discounted or chucked. Like I said, it's a strange industry. Cole King says, they did as of last year. Haven't been to my LCS in a while because they started selling pornography. I order almost exclusively online now, so I'm out of the loop. Boy, oh boy. Ross says glow in the dark would work best if it changes the cover, like suddenly ghosts appear or secret writing on the wall. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, totally. I wanted to do a glow in the dark King Cryptid cover, and maybe I can still, where the front had like a certain scene, like some nighttime King Cryptid scene, and then it would glow in the dark, and you would see like various like creatures and cryptids and people, like things like that, in like the darkness of the background. Maybe I can still figure out a way to make that happen, but that would be something that I'd like to do one of these days. But we'll see. I gotta still see how all the glow in the dark stuff comes out with the Blood Moon book, and then with the variant on the King Cryptid number 13. If those come out really great, then that opens up more possibilities of what to do in the future. The only thing that I can't picture it maybe not working out properly is because for it to glow properly, you can't have it be completely in black. It would still need to glow off of like a white base. So it's that kind of thing where it's like a color reveal, but we'll see. I'll try to see what I can figure out in some capacity. But yeah, anyway, looks like that's about it. Thank you guys so much for having all these questions and comments. This was great. Really appreciate catching up with you guys. And again, if you haven't had a chance to get King Cryptid 5 to 9 yet, please go check that out. Go pick those up. You can go to alternacomics.com, or you can go to the Indiegogo. And if you've already backed King Cryptid 5 to 9, go and get 10 to 13. If you've already got 10 to 13, thank you so much. But if you haven't, and many of you haven't, I understand. You're waiting on 5 to 9. I get it. But if you're in the mood to get in on it early, because we're doing fulfillment and we're going to get your books out very, very soon, go to either kingcryptid.com. That'll take you to the Indiegogo, or you can go to alternacomics.com/kingcryptid, and then that will take you directly to the Alterna site, and you can pick up anything and everything King Cryptid over there. And don't forget, if you're in the mood to advertise a bit, get your comic out there, your store, your channel, your website, whatever it may be, you can take out an ad for just $20 for a full page in an issue of King Cryptid number 10 to 13, or you can get an inside back cover for $50. So that's about it. Thank you guys so much. All the best. I'll see you guys soon. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Stay warm. It is cold this week. Hopefully it is warm wherever you are. But until then, everyone have a wonderful night and an even better tomorrow. I'll see you guys soon. All the best.